Mindset, a daily dose of practical wit and wisdom with a professional educator and trainer, Amazon best-selling author, United States Marine, television and radio host, Paul G. Markel. Each episode will focus on positive and productive ways to strengthen your mindset and help you improve your relationships, career goals, and overall well-being. Please welcome your host, Paul G. Markel.
Hello, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, or good night, whenever it is you happen to be consuming this episode of Morning Mindset. I'm your host, Paul Markel, and thank you once again for taking a moment out of your day, whenever that happens to be, to join me and listen louder. Now, many of you, I am guessing, betting or guessing, bessing? If you're guessing and betting at the same time, are you bessing? That's going to frustrate my editor. Many of you probably looked at the title of today's episode, if that's what you do. If you actually glance at the title before you hit play, you probably looked at it and assumed, you made an assumption about what I was going to be speaking of or the topic. And I'm going to break your chi, because I'm not. Now, today's title is Glass Half Empty. And a couple of days ago, when I was sitting drinking coffee at the kitchen table, my wife walked in and she said, I think that we've been looking at this whole glass half empty, glass half full thing wrong our whole lives. And I said, okay, tell me more. Well, you guys should know, I hope that if you're grown adults, that, the old adage or the wisdom of, some people look at the glass as half empty, and those people are pessimists, right? Supposedly. And then other people look at the glass as being half full, and those people are optimists, and they're positive thinkers. You're like, the glass isn't half empty, it's half full. But my wife said, if you examine the language and if you consider a glass being half empty, she said, if you look at a glass and you say that it's currently half empty, well, what does that mean? Well, it means that you've already consumed half of whatever was in the glass. It could be water, it could be milk, whatever it is. What you've done, though, is you've consumed it. You've done something positive. Like, for instance, like if you're talking about a kid, you have your 5-year-old and your 5-year-old is sitting at the kitchen table and you want your 5-year-old to finish their food, drink their milk. Drink your milk, Johnny, so you can grow up and be big and strong. And so my parents told me, they didn't call me Johnny because that wasn't my name, when I was a little kid, drink your milk so you can grow up big and strong and healthy and strong bones and good teeth and all that stuff. So if you have a 5-year-old and you give him a full glass of milk and he's drunk half of it, he's consumed half of it, that's a positive thing. You're almost there. You're almost to your victory of the kid drinking all the milk. So if they drink it half, well, they've done something positive. Now, if a glass is half full, if you look at the glass and use the language, the glass is half full, well, what does that mean? If someone hands you a glass half full, what they're doing is they're giving you a portion of a full portion, or they're only giving you part of a full measure. They're not giving you the full measure of the glass, are they? You think, no. So let's see. If you went to dinner and you asked your waiter for a glass of water. You say, I'm really parched, it's hot, I'm thirsty. May I have a glass of water? And your waiter says, certainly. And they go in the back, and they come walking back out, and they set down a 16-ounce cup, and obviously there's only 8 ounces of water in the glass. Now, you could look at, you say, if you follow the old adage, you say, well, the glass is half full. Yay! I'm an optimist. Or you might be thinking, is this waiter too lazy to fill my glass up? Let's face facts. That's probably what you would be thinking. If you are in the food service industry, are you taught to hand a patron a glass or a cup half full. Only fill it halfway. Let's say you are giving someone a cup of coffee, and many of us, a cup of coffee is more important than milk or water, right? So you go to a restaurant and you sit down and you ask the waiter for a cup of coffee, and they bring you a nice ceramic mug and it's half full. Would you look at them and say, yay, that's a positive thing? Or would you look at them and say, hey, how about finishing the job? How about filling it all the way up? Interesting. So when you think about that in the future, I've got one more example for you. When I was in the Marine Corps and we would be on force marches or in encampments, we'd be out in the field. And it'd be hot often because Marines spend a lot of time in the heat, in the jungles, and I've been in the jungles of Okinawa, and I've been in the desert, and I've been in a lot of places where it was either hot and dry or hot and wet, but it was hot. And our corpsmen, the medical personnel, would remind us that it's more important to have water in you than on you. And you're like, in you than on you? Yeah. For instance, let's say that you had a half of a canteen of water, and you're thinking, oh, I better save it, or you have a full canteen of water, or what have you. If you have a full canteen of water, they would rather that you drank at least half of it and get it into your body, because it doesn't do your body any good to have water on it, to be carrying it. Your body can't take the water in and use that water to keep you hydrated and going just because it's on your body. It's more important for it to be in you than on you. And if someone had an empty canteen, that meant that they drank the whole thing and put it in their body. So in the desert or in the jungle or whatever, rather than think, oh, I'm going to save this, I'm going to save it for later, I'm not going to consume it now, we were taught, hey, it's better to be in you than on you. So when you think about the glass is half empty or the glass is half full, I want you to think about it in a different way. And like I said, this whole episode is based upon a discussion that I had with my wife over coffee. So if the glass is half empty, what that means is you have already put in some positive effort to consume whatever was in that glass. You're halfway to winning. You're halfway to your goal. That's a positive. However, if you see a glass that is only half full, what that means is whoever was responsible for filling the cup didn't do their job. They didn't give it their full measure. So when you go about your life, I want you to think, do you want to be a half empty or a half full guy? And unlike conventional wisdom, when you are glass half empty, if you think about it from our new way of thinking, you've already put in some positive effort. You've already taken in or consumed part of what was in that glass. But if it's half full, if you give someone a half full cup or a glass, what that means is you haven't really given it your full measure. You haven't given someone else a full measure of goodness. So I just thought that was interesting, and I thought you guys would appreciate it. So now that I've totally confused you, go forward and be a glass half empty guy or a glass half empty girl. Better yet, be a glass completely empty person, because you've already taken all that goodness and you've put it into you and you've done something positive. Remember, like Corman used to tell me, it's more important for it to be in you than on you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. Thank you once again for being a part of the Morning Mindset audience. Please share this show with someone that you think may enjoy it. I am your host, Paul Markel. I'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for spending time with us today. To get show notes, submit a topic request, and for more from your host, Paul G. Markel, visit morningmindsetpodcast.com. That's morningmindsetpodcast.com. Please leave a review for this podcast on your favorite podcast player. We appreciate your time and effort, and we look forward to reading your honest feedback.